Well, if at least one lawmaker has his way, there would be no smoking in our cars. We're joined by WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Kelly. How are you?
Good. So listen, the legislature, now at least one lawmaker is saying, okay, we want to ban smoking in vehicles with a child under the age of 14.
Yeah.
Now, at what point do you say it's a little bit too much because now if you have a home with a child under 14, can you still smoke in your house? And when will they come after that? It just will this pass and where does it stop?
Well, when I first read about this, I had some of the questions that you just kind of outlined here, and I took a look and found out how many states have actually passed something similar to it. There's about 5 states who've actually done it already, and there's about 17 or 18 counties throughout what we would call counties throughout the country that have passed similar legislation, including our own Rockland County, just a few counties south of us. So it's out there. I think it eventually is going to pass. I don't know what's going to happen this year, and it's going to be for children under the age of 14 and younger. They just kind of find that they aren't in a position to protect themselves. Secondhand smoke's dangerous, and that seems to be the momentum of the legislation.
So this is a bill by Assemblyman David Wepper. He's a Democrat from Queens. And in these other places, Paul, have there been legal challenges to this, or do you think this is kind of a legislation that would stand up to a challenge?
Yeah, there have been challenges under the equal protection component of the Constitution. But what happens here? Smokers are not a protected class, and so there's not a scenario where you can go ahead. The only way that they get around it is to prove that there was not a rational basis to bring the law, which here there probably is, and then they need to show that there's a legitimate objective. And once they show those two things, because again, we don't have a protected class with smokers as you might with other people. In other scenarios, the courts uphold it. So if the legislature goes ahead and does this, it's been tested, and they found that, in fact, it is constitutional.
I don't think anyone would dispute that smoking in a car with a child is a really bad idea.
Yeah.
So say this passes, then where do you draw the line now in our effort to protect kids from secondhand smoke? Do you then say to someone, okay, we're going to pass another law that says you can't smoke in your home if you have a child under the age of 14 because, again, secondhand smoke is bad. Now you're legislating what people can do in their own homes.
Right. And there's been some momentum in that in a very small way, but with municipal housing. When there's housing that's subsidized to some degree by the state or the counties, there's been some talk of that. But, Kelly, excellent point. When did it stop?
Speaking to our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin, Harding and Mazzotti, another interesting kind of nanny state bill involves bowling shoes. Apparently,
yeah, they're slippery.
That are slippery, and apparently people, they have to go outside the alley to have a smoke, so it's cigarette related.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Boy, I'll tell you, I read this one, and it comes down to this. I mean, apparently the folks who are bowling and our smokers will keep those slip bowling shoes on. They'll head outside. They'll get their nicotine piece, and then they'll come back in, and they're falling all over the country. There's actually 2 states that already have a law where they have to warn people who are going to go outside. It's not illegal to do it, but the bowling alley then has to put up a sign saying, hey, going outside with bowling shoes and coming back in is dangerous. So then if they come in and fall, sort of an assumption of the risk analysis. It's real practical, but at what point do you say common sense versus legislation?
Right. And does a sign really protect them from a lawsuit?
Well, first of all, I'm trying to figure out what the lawsuit would be anyway. If you go outside, you got bowling shoes on, it's wet, and you come in and you fall, it's kind of your fault. So I don't really see much of a lawsuit there. So, and I've never heard of it either, but I'm sure it happens. And then the sign, I guess if there's even some obvious dangers that you just kind of give these people a real bit of a heads up, because maybe not everybody puts that together. I've fallen on bowling shoes just on the alley.
That's right, exactly.
Slippery. Not that I'm an avid bowler, but when I go out there, so I can't imagine coming in with wet shoes or having a wet floor. It is dangerous. People have fallen clearly in bowling shoes in bowling alleys, but I don't think the sign is going to do a whole lot to.
Well, they should have another sign, Paul, like dropping a bowling ball on your foot is also hazardous to your health. Hey, thanks. It's almost defies belief, but it's where we're at right now. Thanks a lot, Paul. Appreciate the analysis.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Paul Harding, our legal analyst from Martin Harding and Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010.